Hey there, it's Tony here, and welcome to episode 34 of the Dumb Leaders podcast. Today we're talking about confirmation bias, the confirmation bias, and how that impacts on dumb leaders. Now, everyone has a confirmation bias, but people take it to extreme lengths, and people take it to places where it can be seen and explored. And the best place that we can see this is on the internet, but it's also evident in so many other areas of our life. Confirmation bias is often called the prison of our own assumptions and our beliefs. So confirmation bias is often called the prison of our assumptions and beliefs. Now, it tends to hold us to our current level of belief in our thoughts. And it works against the concepts of awareness and research. Now, confirmation bias is when we have a view or a belief on something and we look for evidence that supports that. So we're looking for evidence that supports our own belief, our own confirmation of our own beliefs, our own position. So we look for evidence that supports our place in the world, our beliefs, our faith, and that's embraced. That evidence is embraced. And then evidence and research or anything to the contrary is ignored or discarded. So ignored and discarded. And ultimately what happens is we're not getting the full picture. Now, we see this played out daily on the internet. We've got internet trolls playing out their aggression on anything that they disagree with. We see it in conspiracy theories, and all you have to do is spend an afternoon on YouTube where theorists, conspiracy theorists, cherry-pick their evidence to support their claim and their belief while ignoring others that deny it. So whether it's the moon landing hoaxes or the JFK or 9/11 or flat earth, you see confirmation bias played out time and time again. They selective in their evidence and ignorance of anything else that disproves it. And flat earth is a classic case. I spoke about flat earth in our last podcast. Flat earth is a classic case. They state that they are truth seekers and they're in search for the truth, but in doing so they denounce 90% of science. They call all photographs of the earth as fake. They deny gravity and look only for evidence, usually lightweight or carried out through some sort of dumb experiment that supports their belief. So for a belief and a conspiracy movement that believe that they are looking for the truth, they certainly ignore a lot of evidence in this so-called search. Now, we see it also in sporting teams that we support, especially in those 50-50 calls, those tight calls where we see the referees or the umpires have been forced to make. It's a 50-50 call. It could maybe go either way, but we see clearly in the coloured eyes of our team. And once again, we only look for evidence that confirms our support. And we scream blue murder when those calls go against us. We interpret facts to support our beliefs. So we interpret facts to support our belief. Confirmation biases impact how we gather information, but they also influence how we interpret and recall information. So even when information is presented to us, we will shape that information in the way that our bias sees fit. And we all have confirmation bias. Can I tell you? We all have it. And even those that believe that they are open-minded and aware are often just as clouded as others. And this is where opinions come in. If you have an opinion, you have a belief. And behind that, you have a belief behind that opinion. And if you've got an opinion and belief, you are potentially clouded by what you see and hear in and around those beliefs. That's the reality. So if you have an opinion, you have a belief. And wherever you have a belief, you may be clouded by that belief. So we also see confirmation bias played out with anxious people. If someone sees the world as dangerous, every time they step out into that world, they'll look for signs that confirm that. So if ever they're in an area outside where they outside of their safe zone, what they see and what they feel will confirm what they believe. People with low self-esteem see it played out with signals from others that confirm this. You become biased to other people's behaviours and actions that confirm our dominant thoughts. It works also as a form of self-deception. And this is where it's a primary cause for concern for leaders. If we deceive ourselves as a leader in line with our own abilities, it sets us up for failure. If we believe we are better than we are as a leader, a manager, or a business person, then we really are. We look for evidence to support what we believe. So if we believe we're better, we look for the evidence that supports what we believe. And self-deception is a warm place to be. It's a warm place to be. It shields us from the sometimes harsh reality, that feedback, that evidence that may contradict our own beliefs, our own delusion. So confirmation bias supports our view on the world, but detracts from our ability to make changes that are needed by us to be better than we currently are. So it supports our view on the world, but detracts from our ability to make the changes needed for us to be better in our roles. And that's dumb. And we see it played out when our best performers in our teams drop performance or do something seriously wrong. And often as a leader, we look for the reasons to keep them, and we discount or discard the evidence that supports their removal from the team. So you may have someone brilliant in their role but toxic to the team. We minimize the impact on the team. We minimize the impact on the team by removing that person from the role, which is what or dealing with those behaviours with that particular individual. That is what a good leader would do. But when we have that confirmation bias, we actually look for the supporting evidence to maintain that person within the team. And that's obviously the performance and the brilliance in what it is that they do. And we discount the impact that their behaviours have on the team. That is until it's jammed in our face, jammed down our throat in terms of things like employee churn, turnover, industrial relations, investigations, whatever it may be. Until it's jammed down our throat, we tend to say, yeah, he's my best performer. I'm going to put up with that. I'm going to live with that. But until it gets untenable is often when we are forced to deal with it. And that's only then do we start to look in and investigate further. And often we'll plead ignorance. Often we plead ignorance. So confirmation bias is a constant when we explore dumb leaders. Delusion, low self-esteem, supporting individuals over team are all driven from a confirmation bias, as is so many other leadership behaviours. So in short, people are prone to believe what they want to believe, and we seek to confirm our beliefs through confirmation bias. And that comes naturally, of course. It feels strong to see evidence that supports the way that we feel or the way that we believe. But what is stronger and perhaps counterintuitive is that we need to look for evidence that contradicts our belief or contradicts our thoughts, our opinions. And being stronger and counterintuitive is the only way that we can shield ourselves from the negative impacts of confirmation bias. Remaining curious, intentionally looking for areas that highlight different viewpoints, opinions, and thoughts. It's almost like we want to go out of our way to prove ourselves wrong. That is how we maintain and improve in this particular area. We maintain that openness. We maintain that awareness. And we do that by going out of our way and being intentional improving ourselves wrong. Confirmation bias can help us be confident and strong as a leader. But having a growth plan to become better is one of the best things a leader can do for themselves. So confirmation bias can help us be more confident, but having a growth plan to be better is one of the best things a leader can do for themselves. Things like reading, learning, being open to conflicting ideas, thoughts, opinions, having vibrant discussions, be open to influence, but just take note. Don't want to swap one confirmation bias for another. Okay, always try and remain open and try and look for the conflicting view. Hey there, I'm Tony, and you've been listening to the Dumb Leaders podcast. Please share our podcast if you found this beneficial, or if you know someone who may benefit. Please share, rate, review on whatever platform that you're listening to. Share your feedback by going to dumbleaders.com and clicking on the contact link. Until next time, learn, grow, strengthen. I'll see you then.